Good morning and welcome to A Word with the City Manager. My name is Brian Heck, and I have a special guest on my podcast with me today, and that is Sheriff Chris Clark.
Good morning.
How are you doing, Chris?
Been a good morning so far. How about you?
Not too bad.
Good.
Not too bad. Like I said, went to the Bengals game. The Bengals won, so that was a good, I guess, kickstart to the weekend.
You'd call it that.
Yeah, our Ohio teams outside of Ohio State have not been playing well.
No, they have
so
not. It's been kind of a rough year.
Yeah. So it was good to see a win. But Chris, obviously this podcast is going to be mostly focused on, the public safety facility project that I think everybody is aware of, and, pending sales tax issue that's on the ballot here in a couple weeks. But first off, why don't you just tell a little bit about it? I don't think people realize, your commitment to this community. This is a place you've called home for a long time, and you've been very committed through different activities outside of just being sheriff.
Yes. So I was born and raised in Clark County. Left for a short time to go to college and then came right back. I started with the sheriff's office in 97. So I've been in law enforcement for 28 years, been in public safety for 33. Was a fire chief down in Madison Township for 17 years and with the fire department down there for 33 years, and left in December of last year when I got elected to be sheriff, and worked my way up through the ranks of the sheriff's office, through the rank of major, and then I ran for sheriff, and today here we are. So I've overseen every aspect of the sheriff's office as a ranking officer as it came up through, and the next logical step was to try to lead the department and try to make some changes in law enforcement in Clark County.
Yeah, and obviously your commitment to public safety is, just shown through all the different things you've done, not only, again, working in law enforcement, but also on the fire EMS side. And so what, outside of public safety, what do you do for fun?
So my son and I do a lot of recreational hunting.
Okay. So we have really had some technical difficulties today, and I apologize for that, but we are back live, and hopefully it's streaming. If not, we will definitely get it uploaded here. But we've been having a good conversation so far, learned what Chris does in his spare time with recreational hunting and with his son and all that, and learned just about his, his commitment to public safety in our community, a long time commitment. So now we're going to really dig into what we're here for today, and that's to talk about the public safety facility project. So Chris, tell me a little bit about what has led to this path that we need to have a new public safety.
Absolutely. So the current facility we have, it's at 120 North Fountain Avenue, was built as a result of a directive from a federal judge to become compliant with minimum jail standards. That was in 1977, and the facility opened in 1980. The facility is a 167 bed jail. Was built as a 168 bed jail. Correct myself there. It was built as a 168 bed jail. Since then, there's been some other beds added, but the state of Ohio only recognizes that we have 167 beds in the facility for population, and then because of that, that is derived because of the minimum jail standards. It says we have to have so much facilities per every 12 inmates. We don't meet those requirements. So we're governed by Ohio Administrative Code 5120, which is 172 or 176 minimum jail standards that we have to be compliant with. And the Clark County Jail hasn't been compliant with these minimum jail standards for years. I came on in 97, and as to my knowledge, throughout my entire career, we've never passed a minimum jail standard. And the biggest reason behind that is because of the physical plant and layout of the building and the overpopulation that we're seeing right now.
Okay.
So if the state of Ohio sees us and they say, well, okay, Clark County, you should only have 167 people in your jail. Our average daily population is right now 204. Today's population was 197, if I remember correctly. Before I left, it was 197 inmates. So that's 30 people over top of where we are supposed to be, according to the state of Ohio. So, and that causes all kinds of problems when you try to put that many people in such a small space. It causes tension, it causes frustration, fights break out, fights occur. It creates a health issue because we've got people who are trying to share facilities like toilets and sink basins and showers and stuff. We're supposed to have one shower, one sink, and one toilet for every 12 inmates. Well, we can't comply with that because we've got more than that in the jail.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing is we're not able to comply with these minimum jail standards for general health and safety of the facility. And the deputies that I have and the corrections officers that I have don't want to come in and fight their way through shift 8 hour shift either. So it's a matter of making it safer for my employees as well. You know, and being that far over capacity also creates issues in the community. And the issues in the community have to do with, there's a lot of people who get arrested and should see the inside of a jail cell for some rehabilitations, corrections, and we're not able to provide that. With 167 beds and 167 available beds and a population of an average daily population of 204, we're only housing the worst of the worst. And if we're doing that, we are not paying enough attention to the low end misdemeanors, the nonviolent misdemeanors, when we really have a better opportunity at rehabilitating people when they're committing these nonviolent issues. Let's take theft, for example. Theft in Springfield is an issue. We see it up on the Bechtel Avenue extension and on our retail stores. We did some research here recently, and 25 to 27% of every call for service we have at some of our major retailers here is a theft complaint. And what we found is that that's grossly underreported because these places most of them are only reporting when they have somebody in custody. So we as a society as Springfield has made the decision that, if we don't address this, that we're okay with it. So if we aren't holding people accountable for the lower end misdemeanor thefts and the non-violent crimes that aren't ever seeing the inside of a jail cell or getting proper rehabilitation and correction, then we literally express to these people that society is okay with that. So we can't be surprised when the theft turns into stealing of a car and the car turns into a smash and grab at a smoke shop or a liquor store. And then that turns into, a vehicle pursuit or a residential burglary. And then we have an armed confrontation with the homeowner. And then, so it literally builds. We inoculate these people that should be receiving some sort of adequate correction to the system. They know if they go up there and they steal that, they're not going to see the inside of a jail cell. We've got law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges that want to do their jobs to the best of their ability. But right now, the Clark County Jail is the least common denominator, and that's the weakest link in this chain. We have to give law enforcement the proper tools in order to make law enforcement effective in Clark County, and that includes a jail with enough space. So that's what led us to do this. We realized that we've got theft problems here, we've got violent crime problems here, and it's because we aren't able to effectively manage law enforcement in Clark County the way we should, and it's because of the facilities that we have. We want to do it. It's just a matter of trying to get to that point where we can.
Yeah, no, and I mean, just that number blew me away about just the minimum standards that Ohio has for jail facilities and how we don't even meet those minimum standards or a lot of those minimum standards. You said something that I want to kind of dig into and unpack a little bit more, but on the rehabilitation side of this, certainly the punitive piece of it is it's a piece of it. It's important.
Sure.
But you talked about, especially with some of these lower level crimes that are committed, that is an opportunity to rehabilitate somebody before they do something that's a more violent crime.
Sure.
And I know this is more than just a jail facility. This is going to be an opportunity which you currently don't have because of the current space to provide some more of those rehabilitative type services. Talk to me a little bit about that and what you want to be able to do there.
Sure. Currently, the recidivism rate in Clark County is 32.5%. And what that means is that 1/3 of the people who are in the jail right now will eventually come back to see us. And what we need to do is we need to slow that down. Historically, law enforcement is really good at the incarceration part and really bad at the corrections part. The correction part of it is giving people the access to the resources they need and the training and the education they need to make them more productive citizens when they come out. Currently at the jail, we have space. We have 2 classrooms that might hold 15 people, 20 people, and a room where we do evaluations, that sort of thing. This is shared space that we try to make available for church. We have different church services that come in throughout the week. We try to do group therapy. We try to do life skills. We try to do parenting classes, do anger management. We do drug and alcohol therapy. We do drug and alcohol therapy evaluations. Currently, we're doing about 20 to 24 evaluations in the jail per week. We should be upwards of 40. And the reason we can't do it is because we don't have the space to do it. So one of the things that this new facility will bring will be access to have those rehabilitation areas available so we can actually bring people in and we can actually hold these classes on a regular basis and try to make these individuals who come in a better citizen when they're released. Because let's be honest, when they're on house arrest or they're on probation or whatever, it's extremely difficult to get them to come to mental health therapy, or get them to go to AA, or get them to go to church. But inside the jail, it's literally, excuse my pun, but it's a captive audience.
Mhm.
They want to come to those because they want something to do while they're in there. But we don't have anything. We don't give them the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So when we have these inmates in the jail and we give them the opportunity to go to life skills and parenting classes and anger management, they actually go in there and they will actually take those classes, and they will come out a more productive citizen, hence taking that recidivism rate of 32% and lowering it down. I toured a facility in Massachusetts, a year or so ago, and their recidivism rate was 16%.
Oh, wow.
That's in Springfield, Massachusetts. That's a very large city. It was a 2,500 bed jail, and the recidivism rate was half of what ours is. But a lot of their programming, a lot of their jail is based on programming and based on classroom stuff, and they pay attention to the needs of the inmate when they come in better than we're capable of now. We want to pay attention to those needs. We want to address those needs. We just don't have the space and the means to do it. So we need to figure out some way to get them into a classroom where we can make them more productive citizens and hopefully never see them come back to our jail again.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a key factor there is, it is, again, certainly the punitive side of it, and there's a punishment,
That's
but
the easy part.
yeah, but we also have a responsibility and a duty, I believe, in the public realm to try to help
Sure.
people through the issues, because so many times we know drug addiction and mental health are big components to what you're seeing in the individuals that come to the jail.
Constantly.
And so how do we help address those issues? And if we can address some of those underlying challenges in somebody's life, hopefully we can help them get where they don't have to, or don't feel like they have to resort to a life of crime.
Right now we have somebody who comes into our facility, and they sit there and they do their 10, 20, 30 days, 6 months, whatever it may be, and with very little to no programming, we release them, and then we can't be shocked when they go right back out and continue to the behaviors that they did right before they came back in, because we haven't giving them the opportunity to make themselves better people, giving them the opportunity to make themselves more productive in society.
Yeah. Chris, let's talk about another hot topic around this issue is location. And
Yes.
one, talk to me why location matters for your operations. And then let's move into the location that you have started the process of moving forward with. I don't think you've actually bought any land or
not yet.
anything.
Nope.
You've entered a purchase agreement,
Correct.
which doesn't mean that you will actually execute that purchase agreement. I know there's a lot of misinformation out there that it's already been purchased and all that. That is not accurate. But talk to me about why location matters and the specific location that you chose.
So we started looking at locations early this year, and it's actually been long before that. The talk of the new jail has been going on for several years now, but we really started looking at locations early in 25 here. And one of the biggest things is that the Ohio Revised Code requires the sheriff to be within the county seat of the county. So my facility, my office has to be inside the city limits of Springfield. So that was a big issue. The next thing that we had to look for was we have a company called DLZ that's helping us do our evaluation, kind of guiding us through the process. So they're the ones that came up with, okay, this is what we need to do, this is how you need to do it, and this is how much land you had. So what they told us was the bare minimum was 10 acres. So we wanted to go above and beyond that because we were looking for expansion. We didn't want to get landlocked like we are now with the current facility. So we wanted to give the option of the next generation sheriff, the next generation county commissioners, the ability to add on to this facility at a more cost effective measure than having to rebuild a new facility, another 40 years down the road. So we wanted to go, minimum 20 acres. Finding a 20-acre parcel inside the city limits of Springfield, it's all connected.
It's challenging.
It's not an easy feat. So we looked at about 12 or 13 different spots that we were interested in, and there were mitigating factors on several of them. Some weren't up for sale. Some of the landowners had no interest in selling them. They wanted nothing to do with even negotiating a sale with us. Some of them were way outside of our price range. Most were way outside of our price range. What I wanted to do was I wanted to get this facility in a strategic location for the road patrol and for the resources of the county. So I wanted to get someplace where it would shorten my response times to New Carlisle, Park Lane, places I'm still responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm responsible for the county as a whole. So being inside the city limits and downtown and connected to the courts is very convenient, but it delays us getting to calls that are outside on the outskirts of the county. So I wanted to have close access to either I-70 or 68 or someplace where we could get to those major thoroughfares and be gone pretty quickly. So we started looking around the 7270 corridor. We found some spots over there. The majority of what we looked at was a little outside of our price range. And then this property came up, and we looked at it and we said, okay, it's just south of 70. It's 29.71 acres. It's already annexed in the city. There's water and sewer that's already there. And it seemed like the ideal spot for us to put something on the outskirts, and gives us easy access to I-70. In addition to that, the way the facility is right now downtown, there's security issues with that. So people can walk right up to the jail.
Mm-hmm.
So we have people who are downtown trying to communicate with inmates.
See it every day.
Yep. We have people who are trying to get stuff into the jail. We've had an issue with that lately. We've mitigated that problem. But when you can walk right up to this facility, it creates issues that we have to deal with. So by putting it in an area where we can get some standoff distance from the property lines, and we can keep people away from it, it creates a better and safer environment for both the public and the inmates themselves, because we're not going to have the people coming down, hanging around the jail trying to communicate with people. So that position, that spot, that area is what we looked at for strategic reasons, because it was the best way to serve Clark County as a whole. It just so happened that this property was available. We negotiated with the landowner, came up with a price, and the county commissioners entered into intent to purchase agreement with this individual. As you said, there's a lot of due diligence that has to go into that. And we're a long way from actually purchasing the land, but that the due diligence is in process right now.
Yeah. So a couple of things that you said that I just want to hit on that have been part of that rumor. Yes, the property is already annexed into the city. That does not mean the city owns the property. I've heard a couple of people throw that out there, that the city's giving or selling property to the county for this. We do not own it. It's owned by a private property owner who has the, as private property rights, has the ability to sell their property. And again, the county commissioners in this case were able to negotiate and work out that purchase agreement. Again, doesn't mean that they will actually close on that land, because the due diligence factors that have to go into to any land sale, to any land purchase.
And government's even worse.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that you have to do and go through to make sure that you're doing this. Shifting gears a little bit to the actual issue that's on the ballot here in a couple weeks, but I think it's often missed that the state of Ohio understands and recognizes that communities like Clark County are facing challenges with their public safety facilities, with their jails specifically. And so this 0.5% was actually something the state of Ohio set up to allow for counties to levy an additional up to 0.5%
Correct.
to help fund public safety facilities like this. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize is the state of Ohio has given this tool. This is the tool that they have put in place for counties, all 88 counties in Ohio, to utilize this sales tax for this specific purpose. And so talk to me a little bit about the cost of the jail and how the sales tax itself will help support public safety and specifically this facility.
Sure. So, like I said, we've had a company called DLZ giving us some guidance and some consulting on what we need to do and how we need to do it. And what they do is they will take what our average daily population is, what our trends are here in Springfield, and they will make an estimation of what we need to build in order to be sustainable for the next 40 years. And what they've come up with is a facility that's 170 to 180,000 square feet, 454 beds, and they estimate the total cost to be in the neighborhood of $100 million. And that includes, I think it was like $77 million for hard costs, and then there's soft costs that go in that to pay architects and permitting and that sort of stuff. And that's what it is today. It'll never be cheaper than it is today. As we move forward, that price is only going to go up. So the commissioners made the determination that, we've got to do something. Crime is out of hand, in this area. We're doing the best we can with it. But like I said, the jail is the weakest link, and we recognize that we need to do something. We need to give law enforcement and our prosecutors and our judges the tools they need in order to make things better here. So there's a lot of discussion on how to do this, how to make how we're going to make payments of this $100 million. We did apply for a grant through the state of Ohio that we were turned down on. We will be applying for future grants. We do know that. We're trying to get some additional funding through the state of Ohio. But in the grand scheme of things, the funding that we're looking for will get us started, but that's going to be about it. So the 0.5% sales tax will generate about $10 million a year.
Okay.
And that is for the construction, operation, and repair of this facility. I know there's some things in there, people saying, well, they're going to get this money and they're going to repair the facility downtown. And that is not the plan. That facility would be very expensive to upgrade that facility to the point where it would pass a minimum jail standard. And if we were to upgrade the facility downtown, we would more likely lose space, which takes us backwards. We are not looking to move backwards. We're looking to move forwards. So, along with this 0.5%, we're looking at alternative funding. We are talking with the state of Ohio, the governor's office, to see what kind of monies can come down from possibly the marijuana money. There's been some talk that may help supplement us in the future, but right now we don't have that. So in order for us to proceed forward, though, we have to have a solid plan on how we're going to pay for this facility over the next 20 years. So that's where the 0.5% sales tax comes in. That gives us enough money to generate, to construct and operate this facility. It also leaves the commissioners a way to cease it early if we do get additional funding. So if we have a way that the marijuana money or something comes in and we can supplement a little bit better, or
or sales tax revenues increase.
Yes. So so the commission at any time can say, you know what, we don't need anymore. They can cut it off. But that money coming in, that 0.5%, is very specific on what it can be used for. It has to be used for that facility. And I know some people think that have said that the money's going to go to other places. It's very specific. That money has to be used towards the construction and operation and repair of this new facility. And I want to point out when because repair has been a big hot topic. What says repair? It says repair. We're talking, that this money is going to be there for the next 20 years.
Yep.
We realize that we're building a new facility right now, but it's not going to be new in 10, 15 years. And it's going to need to be upkeep and maintenance. And there's going to need to be repairs that need to be done. And this 0.5% will help supplement that and make sure that we're able to maintain this facility appropriately, at least for the next 20 years and hopefully for the next 40.
Yeah. And so you're trying to plan accordingly, plan ahead, not only for the construction, but be
beyond that.
Be coherent to the fact that you have to protect this investment too,
right,
by keeping it maintained.
Yes.
So I think that's important and a great point to make. As we get close to wrapping up, and I know this is a little bit longer one than what we normally do, but I think this is just such an important issue. One of the things that comes out, I know on that affects us or impacts us on the city side is well, what happens to the police division? And I can tell you right now, the police division, we will stay located centrally in Springfield, in our downtown area. It could be at where they're at now and maybe some expansion on the existing site. It could be a new build. It could be a renovation of an existing building. But I think just like location matters for your operations, it does for us as well.
Absolutely.
We're not going to be out on the street. The county's not going to put us out. And anyway, I mean, 3 to 5 years is what this project's going to take anyway, once we say
3.
go.
Yeah.
And so it's going to take some time, but we've already, the city's already done some planning efforts too, to analyze and evaluate our space needs. And look what we would need in a facility, again, whether that's in the existing facility and we expand once the sheriff's office has their new facility, whether that's renovating an existing building or again constructing a new one, but it would be in downtown Springfield. And I know you've been involved in those discussions, and you and Chief Elliott communicate regularly about how we can help and work with each other.
Yeah, and I want to point out that that I appreciate the relationship that we have with Springfield Police Division and the work that we do together. And while we would absolutely love to cohabitate or co-locate together in a new facility, for the same reasons that we picked where we're at, it only makes sense for the city to stay centrally located to best serve your constituents inside the city limits of Springfield.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, again, we're going to wrap up here, and sorry again for the technical difficulties that we were experiencing earlier with the freezing and so forth. But, I just want to thank you, Chris, for your commitment to this community. Again, if you didn't hear from the first part of the podcast before it froze, he's a lifelong Clark County person. He's vested in this community. He's vested in the safety of this community, and that's evident by his career in law enforcement, his career in fire EMS, a true public servant. And I just want to say I appreciate your willingness and openness to talk about the tough issues.
Absolutely.
And talk it. Again, none of us love taxes, right?
No.
I don't think there's anybody that would say they do, but we understand the necessity of them when it comes to public services. And I appreciate you, again, being willing to have those difficult conversations, have the dialogue, be out front of this versus, just trying to not be transparent and accountable to what you're doing.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you for giving the opportunity to come on here today and kind of have this conversation, because there is a lot of misinformation that's going around. We want to make sure that the public and have their questions answered, and we're an open book. We're willing to answer any questions the public may have, and any chance we get the opportunity to come out and speak to the public and explain why we're doing it and how we're doing it. I welcome that, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity today.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. So thank you. Thank you for all of those that joined. I hope if you weren't able to watch the live, hopefully you'll be able to come back and review that. And again, if you have any questions, I'm sure Chris is happy for people to reach out to his office. I know the ClarkCountyOhio.gov has some good information out there about the project itself. So visit that, but get your questions asked, get your questions answered. Because again, our best citizens are our most informed, and we both want to make sure that you're informed on the decisions, the important decisions that we have to make as a community. So with that, thank you. Have a great weekend, and we're off.